going to check out some spots in the Coalfields in the Appalachian Mountains here, just some abandoned spots. First one we're going to check out here, kind of see through the trees. It's along the railroad tracks here. I was told this was an old train station, train depot, not really for people to come get on the train, but you'd get packages that would come here. You'd come pick them up. Not necessarily the post office, but this is where you could get different stuff. So we're going to go check out this building, and then we'll move on and see what we can find with some others too. Well, the buildings that we will go into today, this is the one that I know the least about, the least history of. Not sure when it was built, not sure when it was in use and when that use ended. This is in a small town here in the southwestern tip of Virginia. I do know that my mom, this was in use in her lifetime anyway, because she said she remembers coming here and getting packages. And I think my uncle would come here and get packages too for his job. So it was at least in use at some point, I don't know, 60s, 70s maybe. I don't ever remember it being in use in my lifetime, born in the 80s, but it's kind of off at the end of town. There's a real small town. There's not much going on these days anyway, but just don't know when this was kind of hit the end of its life. Of course, most buildings like this have some graffiti in them. This one's no different. Actually, this part of it's got a ton, all kinds of stuff painted on it. And you see, right there, somebody had a rocket ship drawn for us. But see it again right here too. Names everywhere, poetry that people leave on the walls. Real good stuff. And it's always safe to go down into the basement in these buildings. I guess back then this was used for storage. I guess sort of still is now. Probably some dead bodies down here. Maybe some methamphetamine paraphernalia could be stored down there too. In this big room here, there's a little bit of graffiti in here too, mostly on these big bay doors. The ones here on the left, there's a road behind them, and then there's some sage advice there. And the ones on the right in this room, the railroad tracks are right outside those. So trucks must have come along the back side of the building, and the train came along the front. outside this building before we move on to another. The next building that we're going to go to is just up the road, maybe a few miles. It's actually gone now since we've done this video. That building's been torn down, but it's the high school here, so that I'd never been to it before, just a few miles from where I grew up. But it was the high school where my mom went to school. The high school that I went to consolidated in, I think, around 2011 with this school. The high school I went to has already been torn down. This one was still here. This, I believe, opened in the 60s. I think maybe 1960 is when this one was built. Could be wrong, but it's somewhere in there. And with Appalachia High School. So we come up here, we got the football field right down here below, and then the school is that big building up there behind it, which we'll go check out in a minute. One of the more famous people that went here was Olin Castle, who he won a gold medal. He was a sprinter, won a gold medal in the Olympics in 1964. But we'll go in. This is actually going to be my first time ever being inside this building, as far as I know. We'll check things out. It's a lot like the high school I went to, which was Powell Valley High School, which is long gone. But the high school I went to was 2 stories. This was 3. Laid out different, but really similar to, and built around the same time frame as well. This building, at least looking at it, looks like it's in decent shape. I'm sure it wasn't. Obviously, right here you got some issues, but not a lot of graffiti going on. I don't actually remember seeing any graffiti in here, which is kind of unusual. Doesn't look like a lot of stuff had been damaged, ripped down. Of course, they're starting when we're in here. They're done a little bit of demolition, but nothing major to any heavy extent there yet. But it looks like it's in okay-ish shape. Right here, I don't know if somebody had pulling copper out of the ceiling, or if they had already come through getting some stuff ready for tearing the school down. But most rooms were not like this right here. Another of the more famous alumni that went to school here was Paul Davis. I'm not a big pro football guy or pro sports anything guy, but he played in the NFL in the 80s. He was on several teams there. He played on the Falcons, the Giants, and the St. Louis Cardinals in the early to mid 80s. bunch of stuff. This was between the main building of the school and then the building you see right here. We're going to go into in just a second, the auditorium. So I don't know if that, which the auditorium is almost just totally empty. So I don't know if that stuff came out of the auditorium or was just out of the main school. I guess was stuff they were going to haul off. It's always a reassuring sign right there to see. Breathe that in while you're doing a little exploring. But it's just part of it in these old buildings, I'm sure. But this was the auditorium. It's gone now too. A separate building right next to the main building, but totally empty. Kind of similar to the auditorium in the school I went to, but that was part of the same building. It wasn't in a separate building. Similar layout, similar design. I think I remember the auditorium in my school being maybe a little wider, but that could just be in memory too. That could be totally off base. And we'll get one last look here at the outside. Once again, long gone now. Can't check it out anymore. But got it here documented for posterity, I guess. And then we're going to move on from here and check out a coal camp. Jenkins Jones is the name of it in West Virginia. We'll head there in just a minute. Head out of Virginia now on up into West Virginia. A little coal camp there called Jenkins Jones, which is actually named after the guy Jenkins Jones who started all this. He was the founder of the Pocahontas Fuel Company, which is what we're here to check out. There's a couple buildings here: the office building for the Pocahontas Fuel Company and the store, company store, which also had the post office in it. They're right here, these two buildings. I believe that one there, the first one was the company store, and I think this one was the office building. Both of them were built in 1917, so a little over 100 years old now. We're going to check out both of them here and see what we can find inside. Way back in the boonies, no man's land here. Not a lot of folks around, but there were some folks that still live in the coal camp. I don't really know how long these buildings have been empty. The company, the Pocahontas Fuel Company, was sold in the 50s, I think in 1956, to another coal company, um, Consol Energy. But I don't know if that's when the place here was totally shut down, or if Consol Energy, it was originally Consolidation Coal. Don't know if they ran it under that name for a while before shutting down, or if it was just shut down then in the 50s. But it's been sitting here for a long time, 106 years at this point, and it's in bad shape, but it's still standing. Still something to check out here. Another weird thing, in the 90s, in 1992, both of these buildings were added to the National Register of Historic Places. So not really any upkeep done due to that, but it's cool to know that they have got that recognition going on anyway. Then we'll head out of the office building and go up here and check out the old company store. It's real cool. Got to go up these steps, and it's up on the hill, kind of overlooking the office building. At one point in time, this was also the post office for the area. Took care of that too, but the main thing was this was the company store. This is where everybody came. Everybody that lived and worked here would come and spin the script. Coal company sort of fake money, and had to spend that here with the company store. So that practice is long gone. I don't even know. I'm sure that's not legal anymore anyway. But the company provides you with money that you can only spend with them. That's what you had to do back in those days. Wasn't really a great way in either of these buildings to get up to the upper floors. You can see right here where the second floor, which is way up there, was already falling in places. So this big chunk of it had already hit the floor of the main floor. Probably not a great idea to be walking around where that's coming down, but definitely not going up there. Not that there were steps left anymore to get up there anyway. And that's it. Checking out a few places in the Coalfields here, Virginia and West Virginia. Get a couple places here that are still standing, but one of these days they won't be. Get them down for future visits online anyway. And then the school building that is gone now. Got it to always be able to come back and check it out. But we'll head on out of here, out of West Virginia, head on back south towards Virginia, towards home, and see what else we can get into.